What if the next time you shop for clothes online, an AI personal stylist, smarter than anything you have seen, could instantly understand your taste, solve the problem of fit, and connect you to the perfect garment from millions of choices everywhere on the internet? In this episode, we will discover how one Stanford founder is using breakthrough AI to disrupt the $7 trillion industry and make fashion work for you. My name is Arun, and I'm delighted to host Priyanka Ladha, a Stanford Engineering and Business alum. She is a visionary, she is a founder, and she is the brain behind Krida, the world's first universal fashion AI agent. So, Priyanka, very warm welcome to the AI with Arun show.
Thank you, Arun. It's a pleasure being here.
Excellent. So let's get started, Priyanka. So Priyanka, you have moved from crafting India's handloom revolution to building one of Silicon Valley's most ambitious AI fashion startups. What connecting threads tied these two different worlds together for you?
Passion, Arun. I feel that I was, if anything, was born to exactly do this since a very early age. So I come from a business family which has been working in the field of fashion for last 50 years, and we work with artisans all across the geography of India. I grew up around artisans, manufacturing units, and retail outlets. And in my early teens, I started building my first company where I started coding and building the e-commerce technologies for it. So I am this perfect amalgamation of offline and online fashion and blending it with technology. So Krida is the next logical step for me.
Wonderful. And when you look at this whole industry, right, like you said, it's a $7+ trillion industry. There are core inefficiencies. So what core inefficiency stands out for you that you absolutely had to solve, and only you can solve and nobody else can?
Sure. With this, we have to understand a bit of background about how fashion operates. It's one of the largest industries on the planet and also one of the oldest. But there is a huge problem, and that's in terms of data not flowing. Because if you just visit two shopping malls around yourself, you will see that hardly people are interacting, like the store staff is interacting with you. That means they have limited understanding of their customer beyond the zip code and what product has been eventually sold. This problem of data then percolates across the industry where there is a end retailer, there is a end manufacturer, and then there are layers of distributors in between. But each of these different stakeholders aren't actually interacting with each other. And that's where the doomsday scenario today, 2 out of 5 garments that the industry manufactures ends up in landfill straight without being sold. We are speaking about close to $1.9 trillion worth of goods being just going to landfill. And that's because the entire industry lacks this data and intelligence. Now, this is where we come into picture.
Wow. So let's deep dive on the on Krida.
Yeah.
So the universal AI fashion agent, that seemed very futuristic. So what technical or conceptual leap allowed you to make it real?
On the technology side, it was the core advancements in two aspects. One is computer vision itself. Uh, that's also my core expertise at Stanford School of Engineering. I specialize in computer vision, and we have been working and experimenting around diffusion models, flux-based models, and a lot of these different advancements in computer vision. And then the second is my current research, where we are working on AI agentic systems and especially working on improving their memory and accuracy so that they can interact and accompany you across all these shopping journeys. So I believe these two, computer vision and AI agentic systems and the advancements in that, has helped us to build Krida the way it is.
And Priyanka, for our viewers who may not be familiar with computer vision, can you explain that to our viewers in simple terms?
Sure. Computer vision is the ability to, or the ability for us to help computers see. And we don't see actually through our eyes, we see through our memory. So it's the ability for us or to provide robots or to computers to look at what we are looking at and then also understand what we are looking at. That's computer vision.
That's a great explanation for our viewers. So, fashion AI often struggles with the cold start problem, right? I mean, you identify the right entry point. But how do you actually do that? How do you ensure that you have the consumer trust in AI-powered shopping assistants?
Yeah. Okay, let me take you back to my roots. So we have got multiple retail stores and wholesale stores in Hyderabad, India. And I grew up practically at shop floor. Every day after school, I would go and help my father by becoming this extra salesman or saleswoman, I would say. And one thing that my father taught me is the intent of a brand is not to just sell clothes. When you walk into our store, we are not trying to sell clothes to you. We're trying to understand who you are. We're trying to understand what's your body composition like, what really works on you. Because inherently, fashion means joy. Fashion means for us to help you to look good. That's the understanding, and that's the entry point. I have lived my life by helping consumers look their very best. I understand how to garner their trust because my intent is pure. My intent is to actually make them look their amazing best. And that's the same principle or ethos which also flows into Krida, where our intent is to help you, is to actually help you understand everything that you're seeing on screen and make the prudent and best shopping decisions possible.
Wow, so that's a very different way of thinking, Priyanka, because when we actually go to a shopping mall or whatever our location could be, particularly physical, right? The intent of the person is always to sell something, right? But what you just described is, you're not trying to sell, but you're just trying to understand how the person looks like. And fashion means different things. It just does not mean putting the most the beautiful or the most expensive dress on. But what exactly works for a person, depending on their body composition and depending on the way they look and the way they can carry themselves. All right. So that's a brilliant and very different way of looking at it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so there is an AI part of it, and there is a human creativity in fashion. So was there any particular moment or a series of moments that change your perspectives on the relationship between AI and human creativity?
Yeah, I have extensively worked on the creative side of fashion, given my manufacturing background. But Arun, I also used to travel along with my father across various parts of India where manufacturing happens. And I've literally seen villages where the water bodies have gone black. There is no water there, there is no life in it. I've seen the damage which this industry does on this planet. And I'm a strong believer in technology. And I believe that if you really want to change a massive industry at volume, then manufacturing can only take you to a certain extent. If you really want to accelerate that change, you require technology. And that's why this core proposition of building that missing layer of data.
Interesting. So let's talk about the data and drill down on the data and the AI part of it, right? So fashion AI inherently it collects behavioral data, right? So how do you balance personalization with privacy when your platform works cross brand?
Sure. So, privacy has been the center focus of Kridha from day one. Some of the technologies or features that we are developing, the way we handle privacy is by not looking at the real body of the user, but by creating a skeletal rendition of the user and then working on the 3D dimension version that we are creating. At every given point in time, we are trying to work in a way that the real details of the user remains with the user and we are working with the mathematical interpretation of it.
Understood. So, would it be fair to say that let's say I go in in front and use your app. So you're essentially creating a 3D rendition of the way my body composition is, the structure is, and then using some kind of a mathematical model, all right, and then you're trying to figure out what kind of clothes or what kind of dresses would suit somebody like me. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, that's right. And we do much more because, fashion, even the smallest of garment construction will actually impact the way it lands on you. And we understand fashion and we understand you. And we combine both of them together. Usually, I've seen folks trying to understand only one part of the segment, that is the user. But it's not just the user, it's the user and the garment together.
So let's talk about the ethical intelligence. Right, you sort of alluded to that earlier, right? That you are just collecting the data, right? You're sort of building the 3D model. But in the industry, ethical intelligence could mean different things to different people. How is AI actually healing rather than exploiting the consumer behavior here?
Yes, I think there is one concept in AI models while we are training, that is the reward function. If you train the way you train the model, sometimes the model could also work wherein it's trying to give you more and more product recommendations so that its commission increases, right? we are very mindful of that aspect. And what the way we are building our models is constantly ensuring that we are tying it down and aligning it not with increasing rate of commission, but the increasing rate of consumer satisfaction. We are looking at whether the consumers are actually willing to have that garment and not return it. For me, that is a win, wherein the consumer is satisfied with the product that they have purchased and they like it. Because if they are returning it, that means we originally did a bad job of recommending them a wrong product. Okay? So our reward function or our model is trained to understand or pick up the right signals rather than optimizing on commission. And for me, that is ethical.
Yeah, so Brenda, that's actually a brilliant point because it ties back to something that you mentioned earlier about sustainability. And you mentioned that roughly 1.9 trillion dollars of landfill, right? Because of of the just the returns that happen. And that, in my mind, is a brilliant way by which your AI is actually helping reduce waste and guiding in sustainable consumption. Would you agree to that?
Yes, 100%. Also, the $1.9 trillion is for the overall industry. And when it comes to e-commerce specifically, so the industry currently is valued at $758 billion, and roughly around 50% of the products are returned. It's a massive waste.
Oh, yeah. So, Priyanka, so while we were doing our research on you, right, we found that you mentioned AI empathy in a lot of your posts, right? So, what does AI empathy mean?
To me, it's about, at least in the context of fashion, the intent is to not body shame the user, to really embrace their curves, their falsies. See, I come from Indian handlooms background where imperfections are celebrated. And for me, imperfect is basically perfect. And for the same, when I speak to my consumer, I really want to empower them. I want them to feel confident in their skin. And I can quickly narrate a story. I was once flying, from Hyderabad to a place, and there was this just 8-year-old who was sitting beside me, and she was speaking about how she's concerned about her arms and the color of her arms and the tan on it. And at the very least, it was very disturbing to me. She's an 8-year-old. I am not sure why she's having these thoughts to begin with. And I think, as not just AI, but even as a founder, as a CEO who's working in this industry, I really want consumers to be confident in their skin rather than thinking in any way, shape, or form low of themselves.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. So be happy with what you have for my viewers, particularly, right? And particularly for people who are teens or of a certain age group. This is a very important part because your body is your body. There's no shame in your body, right? Irrespective of people are bullied and all kinds of whatnot, right? But your body is your body at the end of the day, and you should be proud of what you have.
Yes.
Brilliant, brilliant. So let's talk about your own philosophy. So you have said that the right people over impressive backgrounds, right? What is your framework for judging true potential, particularly when you're hiring?
Sure. Arun, I have worked with people from all backgrounds, world class engineers. I have worked with people at my factory outlets, karigars. These are different backgrounds, different educational qualifications. However, one thing stands out, that is sincerity. I believe that not all of us can know everything, but if we have this ability to learn and to iterate and to face challenges and to come up with solutions rather than coming up with only a list of more problems, that's one quality which I'm looking at. Certainly, if you're hiring, say, someone for a computer vision engineer and an ML engineer, you're certainly looking for the right skill set. So they need to be a good ML engineer. That's forgiven. But beyond that, it is this sincerity and this ability to think beyond the box is what impresses me. And again, going back to my roots, we work with artisans all across India. Never for once we have made any written contract. It's the trust that matters. And for me, even when I'm working in Silicon Valley, it's the trust that matters.
Yeah, that's you're right. I mean, and trust is hard to build, very easy to lose. So I like the way you approach that, Priyanka. And Priyanka, how difficult or easy it is for you to find people because you are at a very unique intersection, right? You are fashion, you are also deep tech, right? So we find one or the other, and it's hard to find creative people because fashion intrinsically means creativity. right?
So I'm looking at different intersections. So I don't usually expect that they have the blend of both fashion and tech. But hiring process is different. Fashion, for that, I look for pockets in London and France. I've got a couple of my teammates from there and India. And when it comes to technology, then I'm going around in my circles at IIT, at Stanford. My teammates are from IIT and Stanford, so and Harvard and MIT communities. So I think I'm looking for different people in different pockets.
Wow. Okay, that's a great way of looking at it, right? You sort of have the right spots, and the chances of success are very, very high given where you're looking. All right. So let's talk about fundraising for AI fashion, and this is particularly, for those people who have ideas in fashion AI and they're looking for ways. So how hard, or let's talk about the misconceptions first, right? What do investors misconceive this whole, AI and fashion to look like that you had to break when you started looking for funds?
Sure. I think the industry is being burnt terribly, and that's because over the years, people have come up with these tech solutions trying to solve a problem which is actually truly deeply emotional. Fashion is not just about clothes. Fashion is about understanding the psychology of the person. It's basically related to neuroscience and it's deeply emotional. We're only trying to develop this layer of tech without understanding the core science of fashion, and that's where the problem is. When I speak to an investor, I help them understand that you can't take the most advanced technology and try to solve this deep rooted emotional problem. You will have to get, as we spoke about, empathy in your product, understand the consumer, understand the art and science of fashion, and then be really, really strong in technology. And for any founder who wants to work in this space, they need to think in both of these directions rather than just looking in isolation, either on technology side or either on fashion side. It's an amalgamation of both.
Yeah. Priyanka, one of the things that I have learned by talking to all the distinguished guests who come on this show is that AI by itself is not a technology problem, right? Or a solution. It's a combination of both domain and the technology. And it's almost always starts with the domain, given what you're trying to solve. So you're right that it's first starts with the domain. In your particular case, it's fashion as a domain, and AI is like the secondary nature. It's coming and solving, but the core thing is the empathy and just understanding the user first.
Yeah, so true.
Okay, Priyanka, so what does your day look like? You are in a deep product building mode. What does your day look like?
Arun, I think my day has been like this. Like my routine is pretty set, be it when I'm working 10 hours a day or whether I'm at school juggling between classes and work. I'm deeply spiritual. I come from a Vaishnav family in India. And so even here in Mountain View where I live, I get up pretty early in the morning around 4 to 5 and complete my prayers, my sadhana, my meditation. I firmly believe that it's all in our mind. Our biggest problem is not the world outside or the competition that we are facing outside. It's all starting here. And for me, my prayers, my routine, my sadhana, my spirituality is that strength which gives me this power to go ahead on the battlefield. I somehow feel that I'm also a soldier in my head. So my day starts with that inevitably. I'm always working on getting my prayers right in the morning, then trying to creep in some workout. And then the day starts working. If it's coding, then it's 10 hours of non-stop coding. But these days, I'm also juggling between speaking to various stakeholders and then working on the product.
That is a very inspiring lifestyle that you have, Priyanka. All right, so let's talk about the future of fashion. Priyanka, so how do you envision AI agents transforming the relationship? You have consumers on the one side, you have fashion brands on the other side. How are AI agents, transforming that relationship and more in the future?
Sure. If we go back to the first principles of how shopping started or how shopping used to happen in our offline stores, it's all about understanding the consumer and speaking to them. When it comes to the online world, the first e-commerce website was developed somewhere around 1982. Then came Amazon 1995. And ever since then, we have been stuck in that same pattern of a category page and a product page and a checkout flow. Now it's time to understand really the consumer beyond just their add to cart buttons and click through rates. So all this while we have developed these machine learning algorithms which are just looking at your clicking pattern. But AI agents give us the ability or the leverage to understand now the consumer and their cultural context more deeply in a way that we are trying to mimic the offline shopping experience online. And I so believe that AI agents will fill in this knowledge gap or the intelligence gap between the consumer and the brands.
I guess so. What you are building, it's basically a universal agent. All right. So do you foresee that it will become some kind of a personal identity assistant for people in the future? Once sort of you have a very good product out there. I mean, not to say that you don't have it now.
Yeah, I do believe, and that's the direction that we are heading into, because the intent is to personalize the entire experience and also go to the point of helping you shop better and probably recommend certain decisions. And then gradually, if we develop that trust model, we can also start working on placing some orders on your behalf. However, the technology is not doing that great job at the moment, in that direction. There is a lot of research going on. So at this point, we are not placing an order on your behalf. We are helping you understand the product better. And very soon, I believe in the next 1 to 2 years, we'll also be in a position where we probably place orders on your behalf. And that's the industry wide technology improvement that is required for us to come to that level.
Oh. So, Priyanka, that's an interesting part where the technology itself will understand from my body type and everything else that you are delivering and defining what kind of clothes would fit me given my budget situation and will buy something for me. So, Priyanka, so the question is, while AI decodes the taste that the people have, right? What happens to the intuition and creativity in fashion? So, in a couple of years, like you said, right, there'll be AI will be fully developed to actually order for people. So do you think there'll be a role for creativity and a role for intuition in the fashion industry?
100%, I don't see that being replaced. In fact, one thing that I'm very proud of is we can develop multiple agents and robots and technology, but there is no replacement for all the karigars and the artisans because it's their intuition and geniuses that has been flowing for generations. And the same applies to designers and stylists and the creative talent. Fashion is very artistic, it is futuristic, it is liberating, it is freedom. But then that also comes from a human heart. AI can certainly help us make a lot of decisions. Will it replace the human angle into it? I don't think so. Yeah.
All right. So, Priyanka, with that, we are moving on to the rapid fire round.
Mhm.
Here's my first question to you. One book that permanently changed how you think about innovation. It could also be some article that you read or a
It's actually a class, I would say, and that's of my professor
theme.
Andrew at Stanford. He runs a class called CS230 and CS229 machine learning class, and I really love the way Professor Andrew thinks about technology and how to iterate fast and how to move fast. So that's an amazing class, and I would highly recommend anyone take that class.
Okay, beautiful. The second one I have, what is a single word that you have used to describe the future of fashion tech?
Transformative.
What is the most underrated skill every founder should cultivate?
Discipline. Motivation can pass, passion can be temporary, discipline stays.
Excellent. The fourth one, what is one AI innovation that still blows your mind other than your own?
Oh, I saw this video where they were doing complete brain transplantation from one person to other using robots, and that was quite fascinating. That blew my mind away.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, I've seen things like that. Yes, that's really amazing. And the last one I have for you, if Krida could speak as an AI entity, what would it say about humanity's sense of style?
And I think it would be a bit controversial right now. I think we are losing our sense of style, but Krida is here to fix it.
Excellent. All right, Priyanka, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to our viewers.
Thank you, Arun. It was a pleasure.
Likewise. Thank you.
Yeah.
And good luck for your initiative.
Oh, thank you.